What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be drafting 7th overall, so should be pretty interesting. And while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section, agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get into it. Before getting into our breakdown, I want to highlight the sponsor of today's video, OddsJam. OddsJam continues to be the place that I use for all of my sports betting research, from the NFL, NBA, MLB, to daily fantasy and everything in between. But don't just take my word for it. Let me show you firsthand all the amazing tools OddsJam has to offer. Starting with their positive EV tool, which identifies situations where a single sportsbook has mispriced their line compared to the rest of the market. They're basically willing to pay a lot more so that you bet with them compared to the other sportsbook. At the end of the day, you're getting the best odds, essentially a mathematical edge and guaranteed money in the long run. But also available is OddsJam's arbitrage tool, which shows situations where the market is so mispriced that you can bet on both sides and guarantee a risk-free return. OddsJam's calculators show you exactly how much you have to bet on the over and under and what the respective guaranteed risk-free return would be. There's also OddsJam's Sportsbook tool, which consolidates all available market info, over 200 sportsbooks, and provides updates in real time and allows you to see line movement. But my personal favorite is their Fantasy Optimizer tool, which is great for those using PrizePicks, Underdogs, or other daily fantasy sites, as you get to see discrepancies between all of these sportsbooks. Imagine, PrizePicks has a Patrick Mahomes line at 200.5 passing yards, and all other books like FanDuel and Underdog have this line at 230 passing yards. Well, getting the over 200.5 on PrizePicks would be an absolute steal. Guess what? OddsJam does that for you. And the good news is, if you sign up today and use our code PIGSKIN, check the link and promo code in the description of this video, you will get 25% off your first month. OddsJam also has a 7-day free trial, so you get to try before you buy. So don't waste any more time and sign up for OddsJam using our code PIGSKIN today. The first pick has been made. It is Jamar Chase, followed by Christian McCaffrey at the 102, then Justin Jefferson at the 103. Now, we are getting a little bit of a surprise here. Bijan Robinson sneaks into the top 4 ahead of an Austin Eckler. I was actually kind of hoping that I could land Bijan Robinson at the 107. I doubt Austin Eckler drops to me. If he does, that would be absolutely amazing. But honestly, I've seen weirder things happen, and we're kind of in this range right in the middle-ish point of the draft where there's still some really, really good value. You know, I kind of talked about it in my previous breakdown of what is the best draft pick to have. I really like that middle kind of spot in drafts. Now, we are on the clock here, and we've got a choice to make. Do we go Travis Kelce? Do we go with a wide receiver? Or do we go with a running back? Now, me personally, I'm a really big believer in Nick Chubb, and I want to get a running back, at least one running back in the first round. So might be, a little bit of a reach, but I'm going to go with Nick Chubb here and land the running back that I believe in. Very, very possible if there was a running back kind of run for him to have been selected, since he's one of these guys that doesn't have as many question marks surrounding him as some of the other running backs, a la a Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, etc. And then there's a big drop-off at that position. So I wanted to get at least one top-notch running back, and then I'm pretty confident I'll still be able to get a big-time wide receiver in the second round. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. My preferred, selection here was Cooper Kupp, but he was selected right before us. So we had to pivot a little bit. But so far, this has been a somewhat typical first round, with one exception, and that is Patrick Mahomes being selected 9th overall in the first round. And oh my God, I don't know how many times I can say this. I don't know how many times, I have to harp on this, but do not, for the love of God, select a quarterback in the first round. Hell, even in the second round. But let me quickly get back into this draft and see what's going on before I make another selection and continue talking quarterbacks. I was hoping that Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs might fall to me. They don't. Here, I really don't mind Tony Pollard. I think he's a good value in the middle point of the second round, which is kind of where we're at. So let's see how this build turns out. Nick Chubb, then Tony Pollard, going 2 running backs, in the first 2 rounds. But like I was saying before, man, that Patrick Mahomes selection with the 9th pick in the first round, absolutely horrendous. You're not even getting a stack of Mahomes and Kelsey. Not that excuses for me that poor of a selection. And I always say this, do not be the first person to select one of these top tier quarterbacks, because you're going to see it's going to be at least around until the next quarterback is selected. In the second round, we had Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs. I mentioned I was hoping one of them would fall to me. Doesn't quite happen. So we pivoted here a little bit, I was hoping we could start the draft with Cooper Kupp and then a running back. So I started running back in the first round, was hoping a wide receiver would fall to me in the second. So that doesn't happen, and instead we go 2 running backs. I'm very curious to see who is going to be available to us in the third round, but let's continue to break down the second round. After Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley, very good value. We went Tony Pollard, then Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb. I was considering potentially going with a Lamb or a Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra, but I was really tempted by Tony Pollard. After CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, Josh Jacobs. Jacobs falls to the end of the second round, with his contract disputes, things like that. Same situation as a Jonathan Taylor, who has been granted permission to seek a trade. I'm not really all that excited about that. So was Austin Eckler in the offseason, and absolutely nothing happened. So to me, that's just nothing. It's not really actual news. Now, here in the third round, Chris Olave, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Hurts. So I was right. A round and a half later, after Patrick Mahomes was selected, we have Jalen Hurts, then T. Higgins. Jonathan Taylor just got selected. Damn, I was really, really hoping that we could get Jonathan Taylor here. That would have been a hell of a start, a hell of a trio of these running backs. But instead, we can shift our attention to the wide receiver position. Calvin Ridley, I've been saying this is somebody that I really like. He's, probably my highest ranked wide receiver left. I would rather go with him than a Devonta Smith or a DK Metcalf. I think that he's going to see a bigger target share than both of them. I think he's got the more consistent quarterback. And here, I'm going to probably target Keenan Allen in the 4th round if he's available. Josh Allen was there, but again, I will much rather wait until the 6th, 7th round, get a Trevor Lawrence, get a Justin Herbert, and be perfectly fine at the quarterback position. Devonta Smith just went. We've already got 2 stud running backs, so we can solely focus on the wide receiver position. And, looking at the wide receiver position, to me, it's Keenan Allen. He's the next best available guy. So I'm not going to waste any more time. We're just going to go with Keenan Allen. I think we've got, Keenan Allen, when he plays, when he's healthy, he's a very, very solid PPR performer. I think he's got one more year in him in terms of, upper echelon type of wide receiver. Then Calvin Ridley, just another high upside wide receiver. But we're going to see a lot of pass catchers with high upside drop to us here. And I think we're going to be just fine at the wide receiver position, even if we want Chubb and Pollard to kick this thing off. So I think we are in a good spot, and, we're getting the guys where we see that they are mispriced, misevaluated, if you will, and I think it's going to pay off in the long run. So, we were unfortunate a couple times. I say a couple times. In the first 3 rounds, we were kind of sniped every single time. In the first round, we were sniped with that Cooper Kupp pick right before us. Then it was Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs. Weren't able to land one of them. In the third round, Jonathan Taylor right before us. So, bad luck, but I still want to go through this exercise, because not every single draft that you do is going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of times where you are sniped, where the guy that you're hoping for is drafted right before you get a chance. And that's why we do these mock drafts, to kind of pivot, to see how the end result can be when we're put under duress, and you know, to evaluate whether the strategies that we went with at the end of the day yield a good result. So right now, I'm looking at these running backs: Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, Miles Sanders, James Conner. If we decided to add anyone else, I don't really love anyone right now at the running back position. I'm looking at wide receivers, and if I'm going upside, I'm going to go DJ Moore and then probably Marquise Brown, to be honest with you guys. Tight end wise, TJ Hawkinson, Darren Waller, George Kittle. We can potentially entertain TJ Hawkinson in this next round. Let's see. But I'm going to go with DJ Moore here. Let's add him. You know, another pass catcher. We need some more depth there. I realize that, you know, Ridley, Keenan Allen aren't top 5 guys. They might have some upside, but, you know, in case one doesn't pan out, we do have some depth. We're building depth at the wide receiver position. I really like Marquise Brown. I think that we can potentially get him in the 7th round. So here, I'm looking at tight end. I'm looking at quarterback. You know, I said quarterback, 6th, 7th round. You will be perfectly fine. TJ Hawkinson just got drafted, so we're not going tight end. Quarterback, let's see who's left. Quarterback, we've still got Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, and Trevor Lawrence. So we could potentially gamble here and see if one of them drops to the middle point of the 7th round. Let's see. If one of these next 3 picks is a quarterback, then I'll probably join in on the run. But if not, I could go with the running back with a James Conner, who I really like, or with the Marquise Brown. So that's kind of going to decide the situation. No quarterbacks being selected. So you know what? I'm going to stay true to what I said. I'm going to go with the running back. I like the upside of James Conner here. So let's go with him. And then we can see what happens with quarterback and tight ends afterwards. Now, I've been touting Miles Sanders for a while, but you know, he's got a little bit of a groin injury. We have to adjust rankings in real time. That's kind of what we're doing here. That offensive line, I'm not going to lie to you, for the Panthers, hasn't looked all that great in the preseason. Now, again, it's preseason, so I'm not putting too much stock into it. It's not like I'm saying Miles Sanders is do not draft or something like that, but you know, I am updating my rankings as we go. So here, if I have things go my way, we're going to get into a situation in the 7th round, 9 picks until we make another choice. Hopefully Marquise Brown is there. I doubt it, since he's the number 2, the second highest left wide receiver. Tight end is also an option, right? Waller, Kittle, Pitts, and then, well, obviously the quarterback situation. So maybe there might be a couple auto picks that ruin that chance for us. Obviously, Justin Herbert was just drafted here a little bit ago. There goes Justin Fields. So Trevor Lawrence is the main name that is still left. I kind of thought that there was a chance that if we passed up on selecting a quarterback in this last round, there might be a little bit of a run, but let's see how lucky we are. You know, we might miss out because of the auto pick, but sometimes it's tough to control that. So you do what you can. You know, a couple times we got sniped. Maybe here fortune is going to flip and we're going to get lucky. We're going to be able to get Trevor Lawrence. But only time will tell, right? Justin Fields, second to last pick in the 6th round, tremendous value. So there you go. Another reason why you should just be patient at the quarterback position. Alexander Mattison, Mike Evans just got drafted. Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams was drafted ahead of James Cook. Interesting. Ahead of Cam Akers. I don't love that. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So it's 1 pick until we get to make another choice. Darren Waller just got selected. Perfect. Yes, Kittle is tempting, but I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going to get my little stack. And again, this is the perfect example. Folks, even we survived a couple of auto picks. Instead of selecting a quarterback in the 2nd, 3rd round, we were patient. We played the game. We were able to get Trevor Lawrence at the end of the 7th round. Now, do keep in mind, this is a 10-team league, so if we tried this in a 12-teamer, I don't think we would have gotten that lucky. Now, also keep in mind, Marquise Brown is also, I believe, still available. Let's check. Yes, he is. So right now in these next 3 picks, what I'm hoping for is either Marquise Brown or George Kittle. Maybe I'll jinx it. Maybe they'll be 2 of the next 3 picks. And we're going to have to look elsewhere. But honestly, I like the way this thing turned out. I think we got lucky with some values here. These last couple of rounds. Initially, we were getting sniped. We had to maybe look in places that we weren't necessarily expecting, maybe slight reaches, things like that, but it always levels out. And I think this draft is a good example of that. After the first 3 rounds, 4 rounds, getting Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, James Conner, we did. Marquise Brown just got selected, so we miss out on him. But guess what? George Kittle is there. We need a tight end. To me, he's a top 5 tight end. And again, I think we got very, very lucky these last 2 rounds with Lawrence, with Kittle. We've got James Conner on our bench. I actually really, really like this team. I would not be mad if this was my squad come kickoff. Just kind of breaking it down, I think we have got positional advantages at quarterback and tight end, which is always important in these smaller leagues. And then we've got 2 stud running backs, Chubb, Pollard, a high upside guy, and James Conner, so we've got depth there. Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. I really like this team. It's got a bunch of guys that I'm high on this season. I give it at least a B grade, but hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. I'll do my best to answer them all. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.